Welcome back to Old Glory Recipes, where we dig up the past, one strange plate at a time. If you look back at American cookbooks from the mid-20th century, specifically the 1950s, you start to notice something weird. It was a time of post-war optimism, chrome-plated cars, rock and roll, and a culinary obsession that defies all modern logic: gelatin. For about 2 decades, American homemakers were absolutely obsessed with encasing perfectly good food in wobbly, translucent molds. We aren't just talking about dessert. Oh no. We are talking about meat, fish, vegetables, and mayonnaise, all suspended in a shimmering tower of Jell-O. It was the atomic age, and apparently, we wanted our food to look like it came from a science lab. Today, we are counting down the top 5 wildest Jell-O salads from the 1950s. These are real recipes that real people ate for dinner. So, grab a spoon, or maybe a safety helmet, and let's dive into the wobble. Number 5. The Perfection Salad. We are starting off easy with the dish that arguably started the craze. This is the Perfection Salad. Now, looking at it today, perfection might feel like a strong word. The recipe usually calls for lemon or lime Jell-O. You might be thinking, okay, citrus, that's refreshing. But then, you add vinegar. And salt. And then you dump in shredded cabbage, chopped celery, pimentos, and sometimes olives. The result is a crunchy, sour, vegetable block that jiggles when you touch it. In the 50s, this was seen as the height of elegance. It was a way to make vegetables look tidy. You didn't just toss a salad in a bowl like a barbarian, you molded it into a sparkling jewel. The texture is the real kicker here. Imagine biting into cold, sweet lemon jelly, only to hit a piece of raw, crunchy cabbage. It confuses the brain. Is it dessert? Is it a side dish? The 1950s didn't care. It was efficient, it didn't wilt, and it looked great next to a pot roast. But compared to what's coming up on this list, the Perfection Salad is actually downright edible. Number 4. The Lime Cheese Salad. If there is one color that defines 1950s cooking, it is radioactive green. And if there is one ingredient that defines 1950s dieting, it is cottage cheese. When you combine them, you get this masterpiece. The lime cheese salad, sometimes called the under the sea salad, though there are many variations, is exactly what it sounds like. You take a box of lime Jell-O, prepare it, and then you mix in a generous amount of lumpy cottage cheese. To make it even fancier, you might add crushed pineapple, chopped walnuts, or even horseradish if you were feeling spicy. The visual appeal here is challenging. The cottage cheese gives the green gelatin a milky, opaque, speckled look that reminds a lot of modern viewers of something you might find in a biology petri dish. But in the mid-century, this was a staple at ladies' luncheons. It was considered light and refreshing. The creamy tang of the cheese fighting with the artificial lime flavor was a combination that American palates were just trained to accept. It was often served on a leaf of iceberg lettuce with a dollop of mayonnaise on top. Because, of course, there had to be mayonnaise. Number 3. The 7-Up Salad. Okay, let's move away from vegetables for a second and talk about sugar. Number 3 is the famous 7-Up salad. This one actually survived well into the 70s and 80s in some parts of the Midwest, so you might actually remember this one. The base is lemon or lime Jell-O, dissolved not just in water, but in hot 7-Up soda. This gave the mold a bubbly, carbonated zing. Then, you mix in miniature marshmallows, bananas, and sometimes crushed pineapple. So far, it sounds like a weird dessert, right? But here is the Old Glory twist. The dressing for this salad was cooked custard mixed with, you guessed it, mayonnaise. Or sometimes Miracle Whip. That is the defining trait of these salads. They straddle the line between dinner and dessert so aggressively that you don't know when to eat them. Do you eat the marshmallow mayo soda block with your turkey? Or after? The answer in the 1950s was, yes. You eat it whenever. It's sweet, it's tangy, it's creamy, and it sticks to your teeth. It's pure Americana. Number 2. Tomato aspic. We are getting into the heavy hitters now. Number 2 is the tomato aspic. Now, technically, aspic is a savory meat jelly that has been around for centuries in French cooking. But in 1950s America, we took a shortcut. We used tomato juice and unflavored gelatin, or sometimes lemon jello for a sweet and sour kick. The result is a firm, quivering block of cold, jellied tomato soup. It looks like a bright red brick. But it wasn't just plain tomato jelly. Oh no. The best recipes were loaded with treasures. We're talking chopped celery, onions, hard-boiled eggs, or even shrimp suspended inside the red mold like prehistoric insects trapped in amber. The tomato aspic was a centerpiece. It commanded respect. You would unmold this onto a platter, garnish it with parsley, and slice it like a loaf of bread. The texture is what gets people today. It dissolves in your mouth into a cold, watery, tomato liquid. It's an acquired taste, to say the least. But for a hostess in 1955, serving a perfect, non-collapsing ring of tomato aspic showed you had control over your household. You tamed the liquid. You won. Number 1. Ring around the tuna. And finally, we have arrived at the boss level. The single most infamous, baffling, and, why would you do this, recipe of the era. Number 1 is ring around the tuna. This recipe actually appeared in advertising, and it is the stuff of nightmares. The base is lime jello. Again, lime. But you don't add fruit. You add vinegar, salt, and grated onion. Then, you prepare the mold. You create a beautiful, translucent green ring. And inside that ring, you fold in a mixture of canned tuna, chopped celery, and olives. Just picture it. Green, lime-flavored gelatin-hugging savory, fishy tuna. The clash of flavors is almost violent. The sweetness of the lime, the brine of the tuna, the crunch of the celery, it's a flavor profile that no human being should ever have to experience. But wait, it gets better. You didn't just serve the ring. You usually filled the center of the ring with more tuna salad, or cottage cheese, or a bowl of mayonnaise. It was a tuna shrine.